Final push to get this farm just crack-a-lackin'. So the last little push here. So we've got our ice, we've got our empty boxes. I'm hoping we at least get 2 full boxes of fish out of this. We definitely should. We should be in the 5-box range, but I'm hopeful for at least 2. There are fish there. They were pretty small this time. They're the 5 to 6 per kilo size. And we got 1 box. Another not so good harvest.
Yeah, good morning guys and welcome. 7 years of failure by a foreigner not farming in the Philippines. And at first you just like to say that on this particular channel for the past 2-3 years we have called the lump of lard out for obviously being an e-begging scumbag, but the fact that he isn't actually farming. And everything over the last 7 years that he's ever started as a project has failed. And we have pointed out every one of them. They fail and then he regurgitates them. Well, this morning, Boss Hog uploaded a video. Are we done with row crops? And in that video, nearly 18 minutes long, Fatso made his excuses, explained himself, but he wouldn't use that word failure. But that's what it is, and it's an absolute catastrophic failure. Something that we've predicted for the past 3 years and highlighted in all our videos, that this scumbag up on the screen is not a farmer and has never been farming, while he has claimed he has been. He is an absolute con man. And in a few minutes, guys, I'm going to play you some clips, and I want you to listen to what he has to say. We've picked out the best bits. Can't play it all because he was droning on with that pity me tone in his voice, as he always does. So, without further ado, listen to this pity me swamp tard.
People have been asking for a farm update. What's going on the in the fields, and so I'll give you a little farm update here on the fields. You know, as I age out, let's say, it's becoming crystal clear to me that I can't do what I used to do on this farm. And unlike what the brain dead trolls like to say, I did a lot.
So that was his opening salvo, guys. A farm/field update. And as you can see from the clip, there wasn't a great deal happening. And Boss Hog went on to say that as he ages out, yes, it's clear, he says, that I can't do any work on the farm. 62 years of age. We all know he's an invalid, but 62 years of age and he can't work. Yet this lifelong welfare recipient is there in the Philippines, farming for profit, and he can't farm. He then went on to say that the brain dead trolls say I'm born idle and I'm lazy. But I do lots, he says. Do you, Brian? Well, apart from the fact that you're an invalid, you better add something else to this illness that you've got, because I want you to listen to the next clip. Listen to the swamp tard's barefaced lies.
I cannot get down here and weed this myself anymore. I was never really adept at weeding because it's close to the groundwork, and I really haven't done any of it in the last 18 months. And prior to that, well, the last year. And prior to that, all the weeding I did was with a hoe. The kneeling down on your knees, stooped over kind of weeding, I haven't been able to do that for years. But most definitely can't do it now.
So there you are, guys. After saying that the brain dead trolls know nothing, and he's done lots of work on that farm, he then goes on 2 minutes later in his video and states that he's never worked those fields for years because he's not capable of doing it, thus proving us right. We've known all along that the big fat lump of lard has never worked that farm. He's not farming, and that statement alone proves it. But he's not finished yet. Listen to this.
And what Marcel suggested that we do was just forget about all the crops, forget about the squash, forget about the corn, and just put in bananas. The bananas are pretty much carefree, whereas the row crops are not.
So there you have it. The Yaya, Marcel, tell Fatso, seeing that you're a cripple, an invalid, and you're born idle, forget about the squash and the corn. Just put bananas in there. They'll look after themselves. It's the easy option. And at this stage here now, guys, I just want to say that a few months ago, do you remember No Show Joe? Brian was going to supply him with so many tons per week of squash. He was e-begging to buy a trailer. He bought all the fittings for that trailer, and here we are, a few months on, and as we predicted, the squash and everything else that grows as row crops has failed. There's a pattern here, a pattern of 7 years of failure, and all the people that donated for his irrigation system, who sent donations for his plastic for the fields, his pumps and everything else, all your money, as we said, has gone to waste on this absolute loser. But guys, he's not quite finished.
Secondly, I just, because money has been and is so tight here, I hate wasting money. And we spent a lot of money on this drip line and the plastic. But it is what it is. And so, probably, as it stands now, once we cycle through the last of the corn seed, we're not going to be raising crops for sale in the fields. We're going to be growing bananas in them.
So it's bananas only at the Bohovel. But you might ask yourself, what next? For Fatso, he's tried everything. Where's the next project coming from? Well, he does have a plan. So I want you to take a listen to this next clip, because Boss Hog is planting seeds again. Listen to the grifting scumbag.
And depending on what happens in the next 6 months or so with the tilapia and the duckweed, this field one right here just might end up being converted into a pond to grow duckweed. Depending on budget, that's probably if we do decide to convert this into a duckweed growing pond, line it with concrete and make a concrete pond. We'll know what we're going to do from from what the round tanks produce.
Well, there you heard it, guys. That field is going to be converted into a duckweed grow-out pond, depending on budget, he says. And we all know how tight the budget is at the Bohovel. Well, if you recall, about 4 or 5 months ago, Fatso uploaded a video. It was about 40 minutes long. Tilapia rebirth. And he sat there and told his congregation that the squash, the 1 ton of squash he would produce each week, would finance the tilapia rebirth. And here we have the squash has failed, and all he's left with is bananas. So, where will the cash come from? Where will that budget come from for him to convert that field?
We'll know what we're going to do from from what the round tanks produce and how effective it is. So that's where we're at.
So there you heard him. The tilapia produced from the tanks are going to finance the conversion of that field into a grow-out pond, concrete lined pond. And it's a bit of a pattern, isn't it, really? Once the squash were going to finance the tilapia, and now the tilapia are going to finance the conversion of that field. It's just an ongoing saga of projects where this e-begging lowlife can continue his e-begging, because in his live stream on Wednesday he said something entirely different.
So we're getting down to the wire on the tilapia, and when we harvest those last 3, of course the harvest tomorrow will be added in, but when you harvest those last 3 nets in a month from now, I'll be able to give you the final tally. I don't think we've made any money on these because I wasn't able to supplement their feed much with the duckweed.
You heard him. He's getting down to the wire, he says, on the tilapia, and they never made any money. So you've got to ask this question: is this swamp tart a businessman, or is he just a chancer? As I said previously, every project he concocts, every project he takes on, it's for a reason. It's an e-begging opportunity. He hasn't got no business savvy. He doesn't know how to make money. And he sat there now telling people, I didn't make any money on the tilapia. And yet, in the video that he uploaded, Are We Done with Row Crops, he said the tilapia were going to finance the conversion of the duckweed pond. So I think you can safely say that this absolute scumbag up here is a total fool. He is an absolute loser. To sit there and make out that he's a businessman with 30 years experience and he's sitting in a shack lying through his teeth and conning people and making a fool of himself on a daily basis. What an absolute swamp tard. So the farmers failed, and we move on. We move on because he did a live stream on Wednesday, and in that live stream he talked about Hurricane Helene, which has hit Florida and devastated parts of Florida itself, up as far as Georgia. And I want you to listen to Fatso, who is trying to show some empathy and sympathy for the people of the USA. Listen to this absolute scumbag.
And, it's just what gets me, when people are without food, without water, without electricity, without anything that we in the 21st century are rather used to. No cell phone coverage, no, just you name it. Turn back the clock 200 years, and that's the way you're living right after a hurricane or a typhoon, whatever the case may be. And it's particularly frustrating to me that the government, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association or Agency, Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is supposed to provide aid to Americans when a natural disaster hits, that they could be out of money. It's just, those people in North Carolina could use that money. And Georgia. I've got a daughter that lives in Georgia now. And it's just, I don't know, it's just frustrating to me how things are working lately. We got no help here from Odette, but I kind of expect it. Even though the needs can often be large here in the Philippines, the budget is small. And so when we got nothing from the government, it was to be expected. However, in the United States, where they throw around hundreds of millions of dollars.
So there he is, calling out the government of the United States. And I have to say this, that to those people who have suffered and are still suffering in the after effects of Hurricane Helene, my sympathy goes out to you. I hope you do get all the help. However, the swamp tart sat on his live stream, and there's not one bit of sincerity in anything he is saying. He's trying to come across as being sympathetic, showing empathy towards those people, but it's all to make him look good. That's all it is. And he did mention that he had a daughter in Georgia. Well, it's the first time I've heard him mention his daughter since he moved to Georgia, because it was only a few weeks ago that his daughter was living in a tent with her children. Well, that's what she posted on her Facebook page. What did Fatso do then? Did Fatso show any sympathy towards his daughter and his grandchildren? Never even mentioned it. So what you just heard was an absolute load of bullshit. Something that was put out there to bolster his image. His image that is in the gutter. You would have also heard him say that when Odette struck Bohol, he received no help from the Philippines government and didn't expect any help. However, the local population in Bohol, they received help and they were stood in line. And guess who was stood in line with them? Yes, none other than the Bohovel bum. Stood in line waiting for a handout. While other expats were helping the locals, Fatso was stood there like the old hobo that he is, an absolute embarrassment on the United States of America. And of course, did he need help? Of course he didn't, because every day Fatso and the Clampett clan would jump into the e-begging mobile, head up to Taliban to find a signal so they could get online, sit there all day e-begging, and the super chats flooded in from morning until night. He made a killing. Yes, all these screenshots you see up on the screen here now, guys, this was Fatso and the clan at the height of our debt, and he said he didn't receive any help. This turned out to be his biggest scam, because he told people, his congregation, that he was going to build a concrete roof. Turns out he built a roof with a plywood floor, which, by the way, 2 years on, leaks like a sieve. So this scumbag has got no credibility whatsoever. He cannot go and sit on a live stream and tell people and preach to people about helping US citizens. So guys, in this video, Boss Hogg's own words, the fields are finished. Row crops are done and dusted. All he's got left is a bunch of bananas and a tilapia pond. So, the tilapia failed before and he's not made any money this time. So, could it be that after 7 years of failure, this swamp tard you see on the screen is finally going to give up farming? Finally going to stop e-begging? Do you think karma has settled over the Bohovel and he's getting his comeuppance for the past scams he's pulled off, including Baby Faith, the brain cancer scam, Rick and Jason, and all the people that he's abused, Richard Lozier, Texas Filipino, and not forgetting Linda. The chickens have come home to roost at the Bohovel. So, till the next time, guys, bye for now.
Well, yeah, it would be. But I left the U.S. because it's a shithole. It is. And just about anyone who lives there will confirm that the United States is a shithole.
Final push to get this farm just crack-a-lacking.